What would it be like if you could get more and better franchisees in your system? How would your life be different? Many executives wanted to get more and better franchisees, but had never found an easy way to do that. So if you need to get better franchisees, but cringe at the thought of adding another step into your selection system, then you've come to the right place. Almost anyone can do this. The problem is that franchisors don't know the tools to use during the interview process. But that doesn't have to happen to you, because working with this method, you'll get a better understanding of your franchise candidates without adding more steps to your selection process. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Karen from Dynamic Performance Systems. We're the creators of the Franchisee Predictor that's been helping franchise executives improve their franchise system since 1988. When I say the word optimism, what pops into your head? Maybe it's a picture of a self-help guru like Tony Robbins. Or you could have Bobby McFerrin's tune, "Don't Worry, Be Happy," going through your head. There's one thing we know for sure. Successful franchisees need to believe that they can make the business work, no matter what obstacles are in their way. They need to have that positive outlook when sales are down, or if a top employee resigns, or if a large unexpected expense comes calling. Can you imagine awarding a franchise to a candidate who thinks, "This will fail, I'll never get this business off the ground," and seeing that location break all sales records? It would never happen. Which is no surprise considering the hard work and drive needed to succeed as a franchisee. When you award franchises to people who are not strongly optimistic, you'll find that they will be forever looking for reasons that things won't work out, rather than looking for ways to make them work. They don't accept responsibility for their own failures. It's always someone else's fault, and that usually translates into the blame being placed squarely on the shoulders of the franchisor. In fact, our research shows that successful franchisees do have a much higher level of optimism than the general population. Here's how you start to weed out pessimistic candidates. Asking questions like, sometimes when we try to do something new, it turns out to be more difficult than we expected. With a business startup, it can take longer than expected for customers to know about the business or to give it a try. Then things can get tough, with expenses still accruing, but income lagging. If things develop this way for you, what do you think your thoughts and feelings would be about the situation? Good answers include analyzing the causes of lagging income and planning to address them, not blaming others, and or taking responsibility for things not working out, looking for things the candidate can do to improve the situation, expressing optimism that the situation will get better, not automatically, but through action on the part of the candidate. Poor answers to watch out for include blaming other people or other factors for problems, blaming the difficulty of the situation, expressing pessimism about turning the situation around, or blaming fate. Years ago, Bob, our friendly VP of franchising, used the generic personality profile, but found it wasn't predicting how well a candidate would perform. And that's what he needed to know. Now, by including questions like these, Bob's discovered that by awarding franchises to candidates with positive attitudes, the number of complaints his staff has to handle dwindled, and sales are up. All without having to hire a self-help guru or blasting "Don't Worry, Be Happy" from the loudspeakers. Please let me know how I can help you with franchisee selection. Thanks for joining us on our mission to make franchisers grow. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. That way, when we release more franchisee selection tips like this, you'll get notified.